you listen to yourself? Valerie, no man is worth getting yourself in this state over. Mel Gibson, maybe, but not Ted. Valerie, come here. Just sit down, honey. Relax. Have a mental margarita.
Candy, okay, now I'm going to show you something that's going to totally change your life completely forever, okay?
Well, in that case, let me get a cigarette. You got little alien house guests? Let's see them. Did they take control of your brain?
Oh, I don't think so.
Can they talk?
What'll it be?
Ate all the frozen gelato.
My panty shields make me feel fresh all day.
Are they straight?
I don't know. They're aliens. This is Mac, and this is Zevo, and this is Whitlock.
Well, they're just darling. Get them out of here.
They can't leave until the pool is drained. And you know, Ted, I mean, if he finds out they're aliens, he's going to want to call Washington or dissect them or something. I mean, I think we could just make them look more sort of human.
Yeah, I thought you never wanted to see Ted again.
I don't. I just want to talk to him.
Valerie, this is insane. Oh, God, they're like throwing up on my stuff.
Come on, Candy.
Well, I see split ends are universal.
Welcome back to the show.
Good to be here. Welcome back.
Yes, indeed. I love this movie so much.
It's so good. We'll get into it.
I feel like I could watch this movie once a week.
You could probably quote this movie from beginning to end.
Yes. Yes, indeed I could. Well, listeners out there, my name's Pete.
And I'm Scott. And these are the movies that made us gay. Welcome back to the show. We got a good one. I'm excited to talk about it.
Yes, indeed. We got a great movie. We got a great guest. Lots of fun on this evening tonight. Scott, let's talk about what we just saw.
Well, we are FaceTiming with friend of the pod, Moranne Klassen.
Yes, indeed.
Welcome to the show, Moranne.
Welcome back.
Good to be back.
You were last on for our baby boom episode, and you had your child in tow. He's just turned a year old. He is not on the call.
Yeah, he's not here with us today.
Oh, darn.
He's sleeping.
Oh, wake him up.
Yeah. I'll go get him.
But we watched Earth Girls Are Easy, directed by Julian Temple, released May 12th, 1989.
Oh.
Earth Girls Are Easy. So
a great
good.
Day.
Yeah, May 12th, 1989. Where was I? I don't remember.
And this was sort of a 1988 holdover because it didn't.
Yeah, I saw that.
It debuted at the Toronto Film Festival where they showed it there, and it wasn't released until the summer of next year.
Oh, you're talking about TIFF?
TIFF, yep.
You're talking about TIFF?
Probably the early days of TIFF too.
Okay.
Young Tiff.
Young TIFF. I love TIFF. So Julian Temple.
I don't know all that much about Julian Temple. All I know is that he did his previous movie, Absolute Beginners, was kind of a big box office bust. Warner Brothers was going to distribute and fund this movie, and then they sort of pulled out after the performance of that movie, and it ended up getting picked up by the De Laurentiis production company. Did you know that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That makes sense because the De Laurentiis family are a bunch of weirdos.
It seems very on brand for them.
Yeah, and they funded like Dune, and I think like Rafaela was really into like sci-fi.
I just watched Dune for the first time.
What did you think of that?
I liked it better than I thought I would.
Oh, okay. It's got your favorite Kyle MacLachlan.
Yeah. Oh, he's great. I was going to say Julian Temple is Juno Temple's dad.
He is.
So crazy. She was nowhere near born in 1988.
No.
Is she like super young, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I don't think she was.
I think she's a 90s, mid-90s kid.
Yeah,
probably born
right.
in like 92 or so.
Sounds right. Maybe even later. Yeah, this movie is so weird. Like the tone is so crazy.
Yeah.
So I didn't really. Oh yeah. So I didn't really have a big background of this movie. I knew what it was for a while, but I don't think I really watched this movie until we were all over at Matt Sharp's house for a movie night.
Sure.
And they showed Earth Girls Are Easy. You were probably there, but that's the first time I ever properly sat down and watched it.
Wow, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
You've been watching this movie since you were a kid, right, Moranne?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was real. It was just so much fun.
Yeah.
So colorful. And I don't know what it was, but my mom kept me real informed on the relationships in Hollywood.
Oh, mine too.
Yeah. So I was very invested in the Gina Davis, Jeff Goldblum marriage. And I just remember being downright angry when they broke up. I was like, that doesn't make sense.
And
there's certain couples that people get attached to because they look right together.
Yes.
They're both so tall and they have the same overbite. And it's why couldn't you make this work?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. If they can't make it work, what hope do any of us have?
That's how I felt.
I like to think that they still remain very good friends because they strike me as a couple that once they were divorced, they still kept up with each other. And this rounds out the trilogy of the 3 movies that they made together, too.
Yeah.
What is the first one that they made together? Transylvania 65000.
Which I've never seen.
It is also very weird. It's a comedy. It
was suggested with this one, in the whatever app.
Yeah. It usually is. It's a comedy. It's a little bit more like a kooky kind of absurd comedy like this one. Julia Davis is a sex pot. This movie showcases just how beautiful Gina Davis
that slamming body.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Also, Amazon.
Yes.
Tall.
Yes.
Beautiful long legs.
Gotta be at least 5'11" or taller.
And I know that Gina did start out as a model, and I remember when she would go on talk shows like Rosie, she said that she used to be a hand model. So she sort of used to be a body part model. Of just whenever you probably needed beautiful hands or a nice set of legs for a Nair commercial or something.
Yeah, they did well to cast her as a manicurist. It was pretty good.
Yes. I always thought that I could have been a hand model. I think I might have missed my calling.
I definitely could not.
Oh.
Gina Davis, just Renaissance woman, model, archer, Academy Award winning actress.
Yeah. When that started coming to be, I was like, of course she's an Olympian.
Also, Mensa level intelligence, right? Member of Mensa.
Mm-hmm.
Gina.
1988 was a very big year for Gina Davis because she made Beetlejuice. This was shown at Toronto, and she did The Accidental Tourist, which she won the Oscar for, and that was sort of
supporting, yes,
and that was sort of a surprise win. I don't think that she was really predicted for that category that year.
Yeah, was that a Marissa Tomei move?
I don't think it was as shocking, but it was just she was a little bit just a long shot. Did she wear that menswear inspired gown that year that she won? No, I don't think so.
I think that she just wore a really chic silver.
Well, she was known, especially when she was married to Jeff. She was known for fashion risks
out of the box fashion choices
at the award shows, which my mother also loved and kept me abreast of.
Yeah.
This movie, not only did it kind of solidify, my love for Gina Davis and Jeff Goldblum, but it really kind of introduced me to the B-52s.
Yeah,
sure.
Great soundtrack.
So good. The B-52s definitely had a moment in the late 80s, with
Cosmic Thing probably came out in 88, 89.
Yeah, but this movie just had so many hits in it. And it's that thing when you're a kid and you're not real, you just kind of feel like songs are part of a movie's score. You're just like, oh yeah, the song's from that movie. So to me, B-52s, I just always associated with this movie. And I associated with how this movie portrayed a specific version of Los Angeles.
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Obsessed with it.
Sure. Gosh, and what a time capsule it is. So beautiful.
It's like a fantasy land version of Los Angeles. I
But
love it.
very specifically, it is the Valley, and they're like, we are in the Valley.
There's like a scene where there's a Dupar's in the back, which I love Dupar's anyway. And I was like, where is that location?
Which Dupar's was that?
I had to get on it. I think it was Encino, which it says is closed forever. But still, I was like, oh, curses. Like, I missed my chance.
I think the Dupar's is still in Pasadena. Isn't it still here?
Oh, yeah.
Over by Veggie Girl?
That one is 24 hours.
Wow.
Actually, I think they both are. The one at the farmer's market.
Sure. That's so interesting because nothing in Pasadena is 24 hours.
Yeah. You gotta, like, I feel like I really hold on. If I find something that's 24 hours, I mark it in my brain. Like,
Make a little
for those
bookmark.
times.
Yeah, definitely. This the scenes where they're just driving through LA and you see all these landmarks. Like, I did notice at Dupar's, there's a Tiny Nailers Steakhouse.
They drive by Circus Liquor.
In
North Hollywood.
Randy's Donuts, so many like LA icons, including one Miss Angeline, our friend.
Oh.
I mean, National Treasure put her on the California state flag. With that
I couldn't believe it.
Corvette.
You know, watching it with my sister, you know, who's had like the same life I have, basically.
Yeah.
Granted, however many 5 years younger, but she was like, "Who's Angeline?"
Oh no!
And I was like,
Your sister should know who Angelina is.
Yeah, even her husband, who's from Texas, was like, "Oh, she's famous from these billboards."
Yeah. I think there might still be billboards like up somewhere. There's got to be at least one.
Well, there's
one as you enter the front scene of the movie, the first scene.
Oh yeah,
as panning over Hollywood. There's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Angeline Peacock series is going to be out soon with Enemy Razum, so I'm curious to see if they have erected billboards for advertisement for it.
Yeah,
they should.
Be nice.
We have an Angeline story that we'll talk about when we meet Angeline in the movie later on. But this movie also, why I kind of latched onto it, and just another check mark in my book of like movies that turned me into a homosexual. As I watched this movie over and over and over again as a kid, I memorized all of Candy, played by Julie Brown, just all of her dialogue.
I love the world that she's living in.
It is so sharp.
So
the
good.
songs, like I remember the songs because they played the songs on MTV,
Yes.
and she was on MTV.
Yes, indeed.
Do you guys remember a show called Remote Control?
I loved Remote Control.
Right. So we had MTV briefly in that period.
Yes.
I mean, we got it again later, but like much later. And then, but yeah, she was on Remote Control, right?
Mm-hmm. My sister bought, and I don't know where, I can ask her, but I'm going to say she bought at Pick and Save, which is now Big Lots, Remote Control home game.
Oh my gosh, do you still have it?
I think she might still have it.
Oh my God, we have to break it out.
So cool. Like, she and I would just play, just the two of us would just play Remote Control, the home game, and just loved it. And it's like that thing of like that this movie has where it's like a Spencer's Gifts kind of like blew up, you know, that thing where it's like when you were a kid or like a teenager and you'd go to Melrose and there would just be like a store with crazy kooky things.
Yeah.
And just like, you're just like, oh, that would be cool to like when I have like a house when I'm an adult to have this like
house.
A neon cactus or like, you know, just something like weird like that.
There was like, there was a store called Light Bulbs, etc. that had just the cool neon. Like I've never been in that store to this day, and I'm sure they don't exist anymore, but it was like right on the corner of like the main drag of my hometown, and because you'd pass it at night and it would have all of the beautiful neon, like the cactus and, you know, whatever else you have, and it was just like, I want my room to look like that.
Yes.
So I was reading about when Julian Temple directed this movie, his attention to detail like that did sort of send the movie past its budget and also its shooting time, because he was just putting so much work into it.
Sure.
Kind of those little attentions to detail with all of the scenes.
It pays off, man.
Well,
yeah.
It did pay off. And yeah, he went for the long game.
Yeah.
You think this movie would have been like the cult classic it is if he hadn't done that? No.
Yes.
And it's one of those things that it didn't make a lot of money in its
No.
theatrical release, but
Yeah,
it just
they considered it like a flop.
yeah, it just got all of this cult following from cable showings and people renting it on tape.
Yeah, I really feel like because we did have HBO, and so those movies that HBO played morning, afternoon, and night, we watched them every single time.
Every time.
And like, didn't matter if we watched the second half at 9 a.m. that day. We're going to watch it again at 3:30.
Yes, for sure.
And just Julie Brown, so she co-wrote the movie. The movie I was reading was partially inspired by one of the songs called Some Earth Girls Are Easy off of Goddess in Progress. So she had a huge hand in the making of this movie.
Yeah, she is a treasure.
Did you know that when I first moved to LA, within like the first 5 months, I was an extra in a Julie Brown music video that was being shot at Akbar?
Wow.
It was a parody of Kesha's TikTok.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and I was an extra in the video. If you look it up on YouTube,
You're not featured.
I'm not featured at all, but I was there. I remember her being super sweet, like very energetic, just wanted to have a good time.
Yeah.
Good.
I remember Just Say Julie and her show on MTV, and why I loved. Yeah. Well, the reason that I loved Just Say Julie was because she did that thing, and it was very kind of like Elvira. Like a video would play, but then they would like interrupt it with her. Like they would drop her in, or she would just comment on it, and I just thought that was so funny, so clever, and yeah, just like these parody songs are so wonderful, and she fits into this movie perfectly because her aesthetic at the time, just like tiered skirts and leggings, and just it's a very like almost a stereotypical 80s look that she's doing, but she's doing it really well.
Yeah.
This movie also, like you were saying, the attention to detail, it's crazy because like it's populated by a bunch of crazy people, like old women with beehive hairdos.
Yeah.
Very B-52s,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, exactly. Gina Davis's character, Valerie, is Val. She's a nail tech. Mm-hmm. And I love that she's just like super into it. She's going to a cuticle convention. What is that? She works at a salon called Curl Up and Dye.
When she breaks out that blow dryer and she's blow drying her nails in the car, like that just sets me up for the type of world that this movie lives in. Yes. And I am so here for it.
The color scheme in that scene really takes me to like literally 1989 with like I had these LA gears that were purple and pink, and then everything that was being built at that time was being painted like peach and turquoise. And that shopping center that they're at, like that's the color scheme that's going on, and she's got her like turquoise blue convertible Mustang.
Yes, sure.
Everything so beautiful and perfect.
Her car, her wardrobe, she's a nail tech, so she's got like the crazy nails, which I mean, nowadays in 2020, the manicures that she has is kind of like you can get that now,
Yeah, they've come back.
Yeah, my mom gets manicures. Right now, quarantine, she hasn't had a manicure in a while, and she's like reminds us all the time. But but as long as I can remember, my mom would always get manicures, and she would just get normal, like a square tip, like a mom manicure. But in the past few years, she gets like a fun little design. Sometimes she'll get something seasonal. So now the nails that she has are kind of like, oh yeah, that's a cute pattern. But at that time, I feel like it was like, oh my God, that's crazy. Those nails are nuts.
At the salon that they're working at, that would be like a destination salon.
Oh yeah.
It's the type of world that you want to live in when you're a kid. It's the type of world that you want to live at when you're a grown up.
Mm-hmm. That's what, you're like, oh, if once I just like get my own money, I'm going to make like
I'm going to put all this cool shit in my
Full-size
house.
curler.
I'm going to have a pool.
Yeah.
Her pool is so beautiful. And like all of the pool toys that she has in it.
Oh,
Like she's an
man.
adult and she's got that like iguana.
Yeah. That
legit
looked real.
And then the hand inflatable.
I did look up the house. It's in Northridge, and you can look at it on Google Maps, and the pool is on Google Maps.
Oh, excellent.
I hope that they consider themselves very lucky that they live in the house from Earth Girls Are Easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So some of the props that she also has in her house, you know, her backyard has like these really cool pool toys and stuff. In her house, her one phone, the phone in the kitchen, is a heart.
Love it.
Art. Oh.
The heart phone is great. And then in the bedroom, she has the cordless lips phone.
Even better.
Which,
Cordless.
let me tell you this, I think, because my sister had a lips phone, but, you know, it was corded, as they were. I think it was a prop. I think they just got a lips phone.
They just made
and
it.
they just put a hinge on it, stuck an antenna on it, and they were like, here you go. You can, like, not be corded.
You're the coolest woman in the world.
But I feel like my sister and I coveted the cordless hinged lips phone. That was like, oh my God, what the hell? And I don't think,
The kitchen is so beautiful and wide open.
yeah.
And then she's got that martini table like in the entryway.
There's like, is it a table with the olive in it?
Yes.
I just didn't know if it was like a sculpture.
It's a glass top table.
Oh my God. Her fridge also, I feel like, was like a vintage style because there's that shot from the inside of the fridge looking out, and it looks like they're circular, like shelves.
But then that kept throwing me off because the fridge was square. When they would come back to the front, I was like, that's not the real fridge.
Or maybe just that was just a fun design so you can get stuff in the back. I don't know. Who knows?
I would do that because it was like a half circle.
Yeah. The set design was very like vintage inspired, and just like the store that they opened on the Facts of Life when Edna's Edibles burned down, and they reopened it.
What's it called?
Over Our Heads.
Over Our Heads.
Yeah, so it was a novelty store. You know, just the same place that sold that giant couch from My Two Dads that was like the shape of like a 50s car, but it was like a couch. Yeah, very like out of this world, like Evie's bedroom and Out of This World, you know.
Oh gosh, yeah.
The hand chair. So I was in love with just looking at everything, and I think I even saw stuff today watching it that I had never noticed. I'm sure it's going to come to me.
When we watched it, like my sister likes to have the subtitles on.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know? She's getting older, but like
sometimes you catch things.
Lyric. Yeah, it is really helpful, and like there were all of these lyrics to the songs that like I maybe just glossed over or whatever, but it was like, oh gosh, wow.
Well,
10 times smarter than I even knew.
The lyrics to "'Cause I'm a Blonde" are like, oh my God, so
good,
so smart. Like those jokes hold up.
Who's the one that can't resist? A Brand New Girl.
Yeah,
that one had some real zingers in it too.
Yes, it does, and she goes through them like it's fast paced. You know, but
I feel like her intro to that song, I just have on a constant loop in my head. A perm. A wave.
A butch. Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh, the butch, man. I also just like the stretch again of like Gina Davis being so dull. Like your Doris Day, Gina. Like I don't know.
Yeah. Meanwhile, she like
freaking slamming.
Yeah. Meanwhile, she's got a slamming bod. She like lives in this cool house. Like she does like crazy manicures.
Yeah, she's on top of things.
Yeah, she's got a lot of stuff going on.
Wants to have sex constantly.
Yeah.
Another thing that I noticed this time around that I just kind of, it's one of those things when you watch a movie so many times, especially when you started watching it as a kid, that you kind of take things for granted that you don't really catch. Val says a lot of things that don't make a lot of sense. like one of them being that Finland is the capital of Norway, that I always just like let fly. But
That's some like Julie Brown humor right there, though.
yeah. And then another.
It's like Valley Girl.
Yes. Another one, she says, you give a man an inch, they dig their own grave.
No. What about
What the hell does that mean?
Where she's talking on the phone to Dr. Love, and she's like, "Well, a relationship is like a porcelain nail." Like it goes off, and like she keeps going, and you're like, "This is making perfect sense." And then she's like, "And then you don't bring home nurses."
Yeah, I love
I love that, though.
Yeah, that was definitely a good line. We both laughed out loud when she said that whole speech. A porcelain nail. They're acrylic. Well, now they
You
are.
can crack it, but it's never going to be as strong as it was. Especially.
Can't keep bringing home nurses. I felt so bad for this poor nurse character. She, like, first he brings her home, and it's like, okay, maybe she doesn't know that Dr. Love is engaged. But then when they do meet her again at the hospital, and she's got those big 80s glasses.
Yeah.
And they're
and she's so smiley.
Yeah.
She's so nice.
Yeah, I feel kind of bad for her, though, because all this shit keeps happening to her. And she's just like, you weirdos.
Also,
like, leave me
she
alone.
just thinks, because also Gina Davis is so nice to her, like she doesn't even realize. She's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know he had company." Yeah. And then when they start talking, and she just thinks that they want to do something.
Yeah. I'm not into that freaky shit. So I definitely noticed in this viewing that Charles Rocket kind of is a stud, and he has a slamming body. Like when you look at how trim he is, like that is a tall glass of water right there.
The dad from Hocus Pocus?
The dad from Hocus Pocus can get it. May he rest in peace.
He's the dad in Hocus Pocus.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
Gosh, mind blown.
He died of like a drug overdose.
Oh, I thought he committed suicide.
Yeah, he committed suicide.
Even worse.
He was on SNL, and he was fired for saying the F word, which happens.
Jenny Slate.
It's a live show. Yeah,
Yep.
Jenny Slate. But yeah, he went on to do some movies, and he's in this. And there are...
He's Dumb and Dumber, man, with Jim Carrey again. Old friends.
Yeah.
Forgot about that. We were talking about Jim Carrey and Damon Wayans, and like their Living Color connection.
And I think that they still remain pretty close to this day, too.
Yeah, we saw like a tweet or something that Jim Carrey posted.
Yeah, and I
them,
feel like
recently.
And I feel like whenever they do an In Living Color reunion, you always see Jim at them. So he still,
That's
I think, like keeps up with that.
He's never like
with
too
that core
good
cast,
for any of that.
He's not like Jen Lopez.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But Damon Wayans, while we're talking about him, he's a lot older than you think he is.
So I was looking up the ages of both Jim and Damon when they made this movie. Damon was 27, and Jim Carrey was 25.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, because Damon Wayans Jr. is like 45.
When I found out that was his son, I was like, how?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But I was like, okay, maybe he had him when he's like 20. And then I looked it up at the time, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, all right.
And Damon Wayans also has a filmography that I forget he's in so much stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you see him everywhere.
Like Blank Man?
Like Marcy X with Lisa Kudrow.
I loved Blank Man.
Marcy X. Oh, man.
Bet you haven't thought of that movie in a while.
No, I've not really been remembering Marcy X. Oh, geez.
Deep pull right here.
Yeah, that is for sure a deep pull.
It was probably a really fun set with both Damon and Jim and Julie and Jeff, and I bet that just going to work was so much fun.
Did you guys catch maybe it's just like me thinking about how maybe spending 3 months with Jim Carrey would get on my nerves maybe, but like when she's hugging them in the pool at the end and she says, Whitlock, I'll miss you least of all.
I'll miss you least of all.
And I was like, oh, like I feel like that might have been on the cuff.
That's funny. I never thought of that. But like, yeah. And if it was, that's genius that they left it in also.
Yeah.
But I love that. And Michael McKean
So I always
Is in
forget
this?
Michael McKean is in this movie. Like he sort of disappears into this role.
It's a different role for him. I actually read my sister read it to me that he was originally supposed to play Dr. Love, and then Charles Rocket was supposed to play the pool guy, and then they switched.
Interesting. Okay.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Woody the Pool Guy's funny. And again, it's one of those things that you kind of forgive a movie or you don't even think about it when you start watching it as a kid. But because I'm a blonde, that whole sequence, is it a dream?
Yeah.
Dude.
It's like thrown in there.
Yeah.
Like, that was one thing where it was like, oh, I mean, they could have done a better job with like putting this in here.
Yeah.
So I was reading that it was dropped in at the last moment.
Yeah.
Like it was a reshoot that they picked up like way after they had wrapped.
And that's fine, but like in the continuity of the movie, he's like, okay, get in the car, we're going to go to the beach. Then they're like in the car. Then, because I'm a blonde, happens.
And they're at the beach, sort of.
And they're at the and they're like judging the competition, and they're like background dancing.
So
in
are
the
they coming
song.
from the beach when they go to the gas station?
No,
then?
because he says we're going to make a pit stop before we get to the beach.
So it's just a Julie Brown fever dream then.
Yes, I think
Yeah.
so.
Maybe this whole movie is just her character has been hit on the head in the nail salon and she's dreamed all of it.
Yeah, it's
Candy?
what happens after she makes out with Whiplock at the club.
Oh, sure, okay.
Yeah. She's just in that love state.
Oh my God, the club.
Yeah,
I briefly want to talk about because I'm a blonde and the dance sequence and how it really gave me Back to the Beach vibes.
Yes.
Yes.
You know,
And we're such suckers for just California. Like, how do you even describe that? Just
I
sort
don't
of
even know. It's just kitschy,
a
like,
California
beach.
kitsch fantasy land.
Yeah, yeah. And what beach is it? I don't know. I mean,
Zuma.
Is it Zuma?
Yeah, they mentioned-
well, that's what they're saying.
That's what he said. It. Yeah, yeah.
It's probably shut around there.
Sure. Why not? But yeah, the actual continuity of the geography is crazy because they're at Randy's Donuts, which is like in Inglewood, but who cares? We can forgive all that stuff.
Yeah,
but
of course.
Because
We
it's like a theme park version of LA.
yes, that is that is for sure. Especially after Val meets the aliens, which their space.
Spaceship. Yeah.
Okay, the opening credits sequence clearly is one of those 80s animated opening credits sequence. So it's
Which I love.
Okay, so this isn't literally the movie. This is an animated sequence. But then, like, the spaceship looks like a toy, and it's like intentionally looks like a toy, I think. And,
Yeah.
and it's not like this is a bad movie and the special effects are cheap. It's like, no, it's
Well, because they were, it's very smart because it's like we're never gonna pull off like a real spaceship look. So let's do this like totally campy, like
1950s B movie.
yeah.
but in color.
Yeah, and the front of the ship also kind of looks like a hot rod, like it's got a grill.
And it works perfectly with like sort of the storyline, like not being able, like when she's like, "Oh, it's my new pool deck,"
and
then he's like, "Is it a car? I don't know."
And I think it's funny how they play with the perspective of when they're in
They're little.
the spaceship, they're little, and then they sort of grow big when they get out. I love that. I think it's cool.
And also, all the controls in the ship are just like it's nothing. It's not. It's nothing. It's not scientific. It's just completely like just a fun set.
Yeah.
So they land in Val's pool in the valley. She is, she's just had this horrible night with Dr. Love. We didn't even talk about her makeover.
So, I mean, this makeover scene is when this movie sort of like, buckle up, you're in for a wild ride because there are musical numbers in this movie. And it just sort of smacks you on the head and is just like, all right, get ready for it.
And, I have to say that, like, normally that makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like, where I'm like, oh, they're singing. They're singing again. But, like, in this case, of course.
It's just like Julie Brown, like, taking your hand
so well.
and just being like, okay, we're going to walk through this movie. Like,
Let me take you
Let me take you for this ride.
Yes. Julie Brown
Also
offered
the alien makeover scene. We get 2 makeover scenes.
Yes. We have a clip of the alien makeover scene and we're going to listen to in a minute, but Val is not happy in her relationship with Dr. Love. He is like, clearly he's having an affair. They show this to us at the beginning of the movie because he walks into the house late. She's already asleep in bed and he's got
checking his collar.
Yeah, and he's got a hickey and he's like covering it up. And so she goes to the nail salon. She tells, Candy that, we haven't had sex in 2 weeks. Candy flips out.
She drops her coffee.
Drops the
I love when
Sanka.
she drops her coffee.
And I love the idea of this like novelty of the computer program with her face in it and like the blue eyes.
Which looks so freaky.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, it's like MS Paint. Yeah. It's like a weird MS Paint. Like they just go blue, like right over her eyeballs.
Let's turn these 20 pixels blue.
Yeah. And okay, so we get this fun dance sequence to Brand New Girl, which is amazing. But the best part about it is
her Lonnie Anderson makeover.
Yes. This wig that they have her in. Oh my God.
I mean, certain women can pull off being bleach blonde. I don't know if Gina Davis is one of them. But she looks great, though.
Feel that way, but
they also.
I didn't understand. So is it meant to be her real hair? Not that I need to like dye.
Well, you see her dyeing her hair back.
Girl's back, and I'm like, okay.
She's dyeing it back, like she has her hair in Saran wrap, so she's dyeing it back brown. So I'm assuming they bleached her out, like in the universe.
They say grab the bleach. So.
Yeah, in the universe of the movie, I think we're to believe that they bleached her hair. And she has to bleach it back. But, I mean, it goes back to the same texture it was, which would never happen.
Never.
That's a dream world. That's my one problem I have with this movie. She also is wearing blue contacts in that whole scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, after Dr. Love brings Vicky, the nurse, home, and they have this big misunderstanding, she kicks him out. And
go to bed, Mrs. Mertz.
And good for her. Like, she does a good throw-out job. She's not like... I know she, like, goes back on it a little bit.
Yeah.
She stays pretty good.
Yeah. Throwing the sushi at him.
Yeah.
Such an
and
80s.
Then she's not even, like, sort of... Like, what she is most angry at is that he hasn't had sex with her, and he brought this woman to have sex with. Like, it's not even, like, the cheating thing. She's like, you were going to have sex?
Without me?
I was going to say, I love all of the setups to this scene because it puts you in perspective of sort of dating advice in columns and new agey stuff from the 80s. She talks about like a pyramid above her bed to help with sexual energy. She's trying to turn him on with sushi. That seems very 80s.
Yeah. Yeah, and then she has the essential oil.
But it was Wesson.
Just this California new age.
Yeah. And Dr. Love is talking with his guy friends at the gym, and they mention oysters. Gross. Well, I
they
don't know.
did that
People
a
love
lot,
oysters.
and I feel like in a lot of 80s movies, because even I, like, as you go along, even though you're a child, you keep, like, hearing these references, and it was like, oh, oysters, aphrodisiac, oysters, whatever, and I'm like, what does that even mean? And then eventually when it hits me, I'm like, oh.
Yes. And I feel like as adults now, like me and my contemporaries, you never would ever call something an aphrodisiac. Like who, like that kind of language. But like, I'm sure they did that on have like referenced oysters on the Golden Girls.
Yeah.
It's stuff like that. We would just see it in popular culture.
It must have been everywhere.
Val's song, her number.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. I love this song.
It's so good. And Gina Davis is actually singing it.
No.
I think is it not Gina Davis? I choose to believe it's Gina.
I don't think that it's Gina
I was
Davis.
like, whoever is singing this couldn't possibly be Gina Davis, but they're doing a good job.
Yeah. And I feel like as a kid, I was just like, no, that's not, no. And
but that sort of adds to it.
It adds to the charm of it.
Of it, you're like, this is great.
I like to remember that it's Gina singing.
And I mean, we would be remiss if we don't mention the outfit that she's wearing during all of this. She's laced into her waist has got to be like 24 inches or something around.
Yeah.
In this like white.
Her legs.
Those crazy Gina Davis proportions.
Yeah.
Yeah, when she runs out of the house, like she looks like an actual Barbie doll.
She does.
Because she's backlit, and so she's sort of like just a silhouette, and it's like that doesn't look like a real person.
No, yeah.
Because the form is so like tiny on the waist, and then just like 95% legs.
Absolutely. She is part gazelle, maybe. She might have a little...
Amazonian
a
woman.
little gazelle in her.
Is she from the Wonder Woman Island? I don't know.
Well, she's definitely from a different gene pool than me. I'll tell you that. But that song's amazing. We might play a little bit of it later. The Ground You Walk On.
Yeah. I used to worship the ground.
And she's trashing everything in the house.
Destroying
this house.
Like trashing.
Like full on.
The flashbacks, though, too.
Yes.
Of like her cheerleading and
Clumsy Val.
Football play.
And she's just been like attached to this dirtbag for most of her life.
Yeah.
Like this guy's like everything that she knows about dating.
Yeah.
Which is kind of sad.
Well, let me just say this. You park that Weber grill that close to the pool, you're just asking to fall
it's his fault.
Yeah. No. So, you know what I do love, though, too, is that the rest of the movie, the house is trashed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's only a couple of days.
It keeps that continuity.
Yeah.
When she comes up, like when he comes back and he's like, why is the house trash? And she's like, I want a band on MTV. Like that to me, I was like, that is such a good excuse in the moment.
Yeah, totally.
And they do totally look like a European band of the 80s.
MTV scum.
Yeah, is this Duran Duran?
Yeah, blonde Jim Carrey, man. When he walks out of that like
so
tanning,
handsome.
That stand-up tanning bed.
I told like when because Jeff Goldblum, like as a kid, this role, and then probably Vibes. Are you familiar with Vibes?
Yes, with Cyndi Lauper. Put your hands on the screen.
Yeah, he's so handsome. And when the doors open for him, like it reminds me of that scene in Bridget Jones is when it's like Hugh Grant, the elevator opening, and it's just like, this guy is so hot.
It reminds me of The Fly when he emerges.
He's also shirtless. Oh, dude, I have The Fly. Well, not me, but that's The Fly.
Yay.
Oh, wow, I love that.
Fly poster in the background. We just saw The Fly at the drive-in.
We did.
A few months ago.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, Jeff Goldblum is, at this time...
Pete Goldblum.
Pete
so
Goldblum.
handsome.
Who knew that he had that chest?
That crazy...
And I'm not even
all,
like...
I feel like I'm all about the chest. Like, that's
yeah.
where I go with men. Like, that's a chest, man.
Yeah,
It's
for
like a
sure.
He has the big chest pecs and the small waist.
Yeah.
And because in this movie they are shaved aliens, they all have, like, they're completely shaved. So they shaved under their arms and
Yeah,
everything.
I saw that when he's like, they're in the bed, and I was like, well, I guess that goes with it. You know, like, he's got no armpit hair. It's like
Jim Carrey, when he was under the ship, like, fixing the ship in the pool on a skateboard, I noticed it. I was like, oh my god, they got everything.
Have you ever seen Jeff Goldblum's piano show in Hollywood?
Yeah.
I feel like all of our girlfriends have been there at least once.
Yeah. I didn't talk to him or anything, but yeah, he's very good.
But don't
and he
we?
plays the piano in this. I assume he's really playing it.
Yeah. That was something where I always had that little tidbit of
Just
like,
a little character note that they dropped in.
Yeah, a little nugget of knowledge that I had about Jeff Goldblum, because, like, to me, I watched this movie a lot as a kid and I was obsessed with it, but I also knew that not a lot of other people did. So, like, I knew that this was kind of like a weird movie that, like, I was the weirdo singing because I'm a blonde. And not a lot of other people did. So, to me, I was like, well, I kind of had that little tidbit of knowledge about Jeff Goldblum because I saw him playing in this, and I was like, I think he's really playing the piano. So, yeah, this was always kind of like my little, like, it was my little piece of, like, I don't know.
Sure.
Something that I don't really think I had a lot of friends when I was younger that watched this movie. It was like me and my sister just like...
It's one of those things like where when you got to middle school or high school and somebody knew about it, you're like, hey,
yeah,
you're people.
Totally.
Like Killer Clowns from Outer Space or something.
I used to love Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
So good. Did you guys ever see Hunk?
Oh, I feel like
God.
you have told me about
the
Hunk.
guy from Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Okay,
is in
sure.
Hunk.
That rings a bell.
You should watch Hunk. if you
Yeah,
haven't
we're
seen it.
yeah. I think it's on YouTube actually.
And, you know, my relationship with Jeff Goldblum is I've never been one of those people that he's like, oh, he's so handsome. But then I rewatch stuff like this and The Fly, and I'm just like, I have been underestimating the Goldblum.
Yeah, when he's got his hair like this.
Yeah, I was just about to mention his hair.
He's very handsome.
Yeah, when I was just about to mention his hair, when he comes out of his, tanning bed, and it's like he's backlit with these like neon, or fluorescent lights, and the steam comes out. That hair is so like coiffed and beautiful.
Mm-hmm. You should play that clip. We have it.
Yes, let's take a listen.
Okay, Val, are you ready? I think they're almost done. Okay, with the big red one, I went for the blonde surfer look. Wow! Which one is that?
We are human now.
I don't believe it. He's even cute.
I know, fiction, huh? Val, you won't believe this. Okay. Surprise!
Is that Zebo?
Oh my God, you're like totally black. Okay, and behind door number 3, this is the ultimate. Well, it was easy. I started on poodles.
Good.
Real good.
I started on poodles.
That reveal of Jeff is so dreamy.
Yeah, and just him saying, yeah, good.
Good. Says,
Just
you're,
the-
you're
I have
incredible.
to say, too, at the club scene with Damon Wayans, even Damon Wayans, like, his outfit is so
Oh, yeah, he can
cool,
hit it.
and he's so hot.
Yeah.
Wow, Damon Wayans.
It's so interesting
Then he
too.
starts moving his ears, and I'm like, oh, stop.
Oh yeah, that was weird. It's interesting too because a lot of the wardrobe in this movie, like I said, Julie Brown's wardrobe is super 80s, and her hair is crazy, but she's like a stylist and like a kooky character, so that's one thing. But yeah, I feel like Damon Wayans' outfits, Jim Carrey's outfit, Goldblum's outfit, they don't look super dated.
You could see any of these guys on the Venice Boardwalk.
I was like, if Jeff Goldblum looking like that in that outfit were walking around, and especially Damon Wayans, like, that
totally.
outfit that he's in with the tank top and the high tops.
Yeah,
I was just like, those high tops are so cool.
yeah,
those pants on him are like just so it's very cool. And then if Jeff Goldblum were just like walking down the street, I'd be like, that's the coolest man alive.
no, totally.
I would marry you.
I love the setup when they take them out for a night on the town. I think it's so good.
This one?
Whoa, Candy, reality check. We can't go out with these guys. They're aliens.
So, they can still be dates. Do you guys have margaritas on your planet?
So with the margaritas, I wonder if margaritas were like a new thing.
And even at the end when they go off in the spaceship, Candy like throws a margarita can into the ship.
The margaritas.
She had canned margaritas.
And I love that scene because there's no reason why Candy should show up, but she just shows up with cocktails to like send them on their way.
Well, she has to have a goodbye, with Val, who's leaving to another planet.
Yeah.
I love the sad look on Candy's face. She's like, well, okay, if you really want this, I'm going to miss you. Call me.
Call me.
Here's a margarita.
Gina Davis is sort of like, I can't call you. But also,
that.
I would like to say that I wish that the kitty had ended up with Julie Brown.
Oh, sure. Bambi?
Because when... Do you remember when she's on the phone, like, crying about him leaving?
Yeah.
Or, like, throwing him out, and she's like, the worst thing happened. And she's like, oh, no, Bambi's fine.
Yeah.
So, obviously... like,
When Bambi gets thrown in the pool...
Oh my
Yeah.
god!
This wet
that
cat
you
crawling
can
out of the
tell,
pool.
Like, well, even when he's like cuddling the cat at the end, you can tell like the cat wants to get away.
Oh yeah,
Like this kitty was not treated.
Yeah, it does.
well, on set.
It fully looks like someone picked her up and threw her when she
Yeah.
flies into the
know.
water.
Poor
It's like,
Bambi.
oh my god!
a big Persian cat named Bambi.
Yeah.
I love it.
So handsome.
Big white Persian. Yeah, they probably only had one. Like, it wasn't one of those things where they're like, well, this is the swimming Bambi, and this is, the cuddling Bambi. They
Here's a fake kitty. That
Yeah.
oh my gosh, speaking of cats treated badly, I don't know the last time you saw Dune, but there's this one cat in Dune. It's like in a little cage.
Yes, in the box.
And they have all these like wires attached to it. And I was...
They're like milking it or
Very
something.
concerned.
It's
Very concerned for that cat.
it's upsetting. That scene is pretty upsetting for multiple reasons. There's a lot going on
Yeah.
in Dune.
So they go to a nightclub. Do you remember what the nightclub is called?
It's called Decadence.
Decadence.
Like decadence.
And they set dressed the Griffith Observatory to be a nightclub. And
Yeah.
it is so goddamn cool. Like, I want
It
to
does
go to
look
this
great.
nightclub.
It looks fun.
Like, I want to go party there. And that's just
I
one
know,
of
I
those.
was saying they should just turn it into that once
Yeah.
a year.
They do, I mean, they do the laserium. That's fun. Everybody's like,
Yeah.
everybody's getting stoned
Put
before
some
that.
cages in there.
Yep.
It'll be the same thing.
Well, I mean, my thing was I just assumed it was the exterior, and then once we went inside, we were just in some like club.
Oh, yeah.
Sets.
Yeah, but definitely one of those moments when you're a kid and you see characters go to a bar and a club in a movie,
Yeah.
and you're just like, I can't wait until I get old enough to go to the Griffith Observatory nightclub.
Yeah, and you dream about having one of those dance-offs.
Okay.
And I thought for sure that was, what's her name, from Fresh Prince, but it's not.
Oh,
Are
Karen
they
Parsons,
from?
it's not, yeah.
Are they from Girls Just Want to Have Fun?
Okay, so the two twins at the beauty salon.
Oh,
are
sure,
from Girls
that's
Just Wanna
them.
Have
Sure.
Fun. There's like a set of twins when they're doing the makeover.
Brand new girl.
Brand new girl. They're in Girls Just Want to Have Fun. The girls at the observatory that they kind of see in the car, like the Valley Girls, the one of them has the American Express earrings, which I
Yeah.
love.
Kiki and Tammy. Tammy has the American Express earring, and also movies that made us gay all-star. It's Stacey Travis from Ghost World. She is the woman that Seymour starts dating in Ghost
Wow.
World. She's the one that responds to the personal, but like the real woman.
And her favorite song is what is it?
Solid like a rock.
Solid like a rock.
Like Stacey Travis, like with these credit card cutout earrings. And I also just love the universe of this movie. This is just like a fashion choice of these Valley Girls.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
They had so much fun with Valley Girls.
yes. Her hair is crazy. She's got like a big bouffant hairstyle. One of the other girls, the first girl that says, "I'm going home with him."
They
after they see his crazy time.
all rightly want to fuck Jim Carrey, because who wouldn't in this movie?
That girl was in the Monster Squad.
Oh, that's how I knew her from something. She's the sister that's not a virgin.
Yeah. Yes,
right?
indeed. He doesn't count. Doesn't count. Yes.
That didn't count. It's like, then they have to. Oh, crazy.
Yes. So that's her. But which is crazy because she's playing like a teenager in that movie. When was that? I feel like that was right around the same time.
80. I'd say it's a little earlier.
Yeah, it probably is. It's probably
87.
86, 87. But that's only like 2 years.
Yeah.
This dance scene is bananas. Like, what is going on?
This is Morris Day.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the same thing. He's right out of Purple Rain. He's wearing this like zoot suit situation. He's got the Billy
attitude.
Yeah.
What you got? What you got?
Yep. I just expect like some like henchman of his to come with like a giant mirror.
With another cane.
Yeah, another cane and a floor length mirror for him to like, check himself out. He's got like the Billy D. Williams hair. Like, it's crazy. The dance sequence is nuts. But I mean, again, this movie's like a pseudo musical, so you let it slide.
Go with it.
Yeah, I mean, it lives in its own universe.
And then he does the spin to just
man.
Where he's like setting the floor on fire.
Drills himself into like the basement of this club.
But definitely not the stuff that you see in comedies anymore.
No.
You never get like a fun dance break like this.
I love though in movies where like dancing is kind of like a thing with characters, and like a tough guy character is just like, he can't dance. Like that's like just this put down. Like, he can't even dance, and it's like,
show me some moves.
Yeah. Whereas like a normal person would be like, yeah, sorry, I am not a trained dancer. You are absolutely right.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. What's that one in is it Can't Buy Me Love, where he's like trying to watch the show beforehand?
He's trying to watch American Bandstand.
Yeah.
And he ends up watching the African Anteater Ritual.
Mm-hmm.
I love Can't Buy Me Love.
I think it's okay. I think Patrick Dempsey's
we watched it recently.
Really cute, but yeah.
How did it hold up when you watched it recently?
It's actually really good.
Oh, okay.
I will say. Although, the one thing I've noticed, because I feel like I've gone back and watched a lot of 80s movies that I either like sort of forgot or only saw once, and I feel like we have HBO now or whatever it is, and they have a lot of old 80s movies.
Yeah.
So if I see them, I'll like really try and pressure John into watching them with me. But he like Can't Buy Me Love too, and there's this shirt that he wears in it where it's like
the You Are Here.
Yes, and I got it.
Love it.
Like, I saw it and I was like, I need that shirt.
Great.
And I like got on Etsy and I found it. And it's great.
That's so cool. I always loved that shirt. Like even from when I was a kid.
My thing
she's actually a really good person in the movie.
She is. Her friends are not.
Say, all of the friends are just assholes.
But she does a very good job of like teaching him how it actually is, and like showing, and he's the one that he does not follow the rules, and he's sort of a dick.
Correct.
But
I feel like she had that attitude like Veronica in Heathers, where she's like, being popular is a job and I hate my coworkers.
Yeah.
So, but we digress.
Yes.
The nightclub scene at the observatory in this movie is amazing. The dance break is fun.
Yeah.
But we eventually... Oh, and we get to see, Goldblum
play the piano.
And make his moves, which I feel like it's almost like I wish they gave more time to like being into her. I feel like he just like mostly feels sorry for her. Like, why is she so sad about this other guy? Like, I can make you feel
the way that Jeff looks at
really good.
Gina is just he's so in love when he looks at her. I love it. Chemistry.
Oh yeah.
Those two have it.
True.
Yeah, maybe they just didn't have to develop the story because they're like, look at him.
And just like, how cool is it just for these two as a couple that they had just made The Fly, like this crazy, fucked up David Cronenberg movie, and then they just make this fun alien musical. And they just did it as a couple just to have fun. I love that.
It is great.
Yeah. So after they go home and do it, and at first Val is like, you're an alien. I don't even know if like we can.
Her alien nightmare.
Oh my god!
Sequence is so good.
Yeah.
I always forget about it.
Yeah.
Oh,
and it has everything.
When she opens the refrigerator,
that little person like Oompa Loompa situation in the fridge. All the neighbors are aliens. Robbie the robot is like there.
Robbie's there from Forbidden Planet.
But again, it's that thing where it's that it's that 80s retro, right? So everything is like 50s sci-fi stuff that, you know, these adults at the time, that was from their childhood, you know, but to us as kids, that, you know, it was super vintage, but it was very like Pee-wee's Playhouse and, you know, just that kind of cool, just off the wall enough, you know.
I was going to say, this movie is following by about a year and a half Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Right.
So it just sort of takes kind of those ideas and it does this with it.
Yeah.
With a science fiction movie.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it does kind of have that kind of like Tim Burton sensibility as far as like the 50s kind of sci-fi aesthetic. But yeah, I was that's exactly where I was going. That dream is like so crazy.
Oh.
Yeah.
And also, like, at least I know if I slept with an alien, I would definitely have a nightmare immediately about how I just had sex with an alien. Like, wait, what was I thinking?
I love that she's popping like 5 birth controls at once.
And she like looks over and she's like, yeah,
Let's throw some more in there.
Just to be safe.
Yeah.
I'm like, can you OD on those? I don't know.
Yeah.
But
it probably just gives you a really bad headache.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, this is when, you know, the pool finally gets drained. You know, Woody takes Zebo and Whiplock out to, you know, to go to the beach to find babes. And they have this crazy adventure. Candy.
Do you have candy?
Do you have candy? Oh yeah, candy.
Yeah, get some candy,
Some
man.
licorice.
Get some brewskis and candy.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is when we meet the iconic Angeline. So, do we have any Angeline stories? Have you ever actually run into Angeline in the wild? Because you see her a lot.
I had a very beautiful moment where I had gone, there's this like swimming hole in Malibu. I don't know if it's technically Malibu. It's off Las Virgenes.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of in those like hills.
You have to, and you have to hike down.
Oh, wow.
And it's very steep. And you have to walk along the highway, like through the tunnel to get there. Or at least I did. Maybe some other people don't do this. But so I had just finished climbing up the hill with my friend. And, you know, it's sort of an accomplishment. Anyway, and so we've just finished climbing, started walking back to our car, and it's like a mile walk or whatever.
Oh, my God.
Angeline's pink Corvette comes around this curvy road, passes us, and we both look at each other and immediately just say, Angeline!
Angeline! As you do when she drives by.
Yeah.
We hugged.
You hugged each other.
Like, yeah, because it was just like such a magic moment, and we had just like finished this big hike. It was beautiful.
Wow, that's awesome.
We have a pretty good Angeline story. We were at the El Capitan Theater in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. I was reviewing the remake of Pete's Dragon with Bryce Dallas Howard. Do you remember the remake of Pete's Dragon? It was pretty cute. I liked it.
Never saw it.
But we were leaving the theater, like walking out onto Hollywood Boulevard, like the Walk of Fame, and there she is, like right in front of us.
Well, it was a red light, and her car
She was stopped right in front of the El Cap Theater.
Yeah, so
and
we walked out.
Like wave her down, like Angeline.
Yeah, we were just
what
like
a power trip to just like drive down.
Oh
Hollywood
yeah.
Boulevard.
Mm-hmm. Well, okay, so it's a press screener for Pete's Dragon. So there's a bunch of people on the sidewalk, but it's also like we're waving and we're like, hey, and like waving, and everybody's looking at us like we're crazy people, and we're like,
don't you know,
fucking pink Corvette?
There is like the Los Angeles National Treasure right there.
So then, and it's a red light, right? Remember?
Yeah.
And she stopped. So then she like points at us,
yeah,
and gives us one of these. Starts like
she
waving
beckons us
over
up to the car.
So like I run out there into the street and like stick my head in her Corvette
naturally.
Yes, and I forgot what she said, but she gives me a business card. Yes. And then she goes, wait. And she gives me like a stack of them. And she goes, for your friends.
Drives off.
Drives off.
Yes.
And I was like, I love you, Angeline.
I feel like we've had friends that have just seen her shopping at Ralph's too.
Oh, I'm sure.
In Los Feliz, like picking out fruit.
Somebody like said that they were sort of like sounded like they were hounding her, like, oh, can I get a picture or whatever, and she required them to buy like a t-shirt.
Yes.
Oh,
you
yeah.
have to, yeah. If it's a
and
situation,
they were like sort of giving me like throwing shade, and I was like, dude, you're the one asking for her picture. Like,
She has her merch in her trunk. She can pop it open and you can buy an Angeline t-shirt.
yeah. If she wasn't driving, if the car was stopped and I was like, hey, she probably would have made us buy something to even talk to us, because that's just, she's known for that. People are just like, you have to buy a t-shirt if you want to like get a picture with her or whatever, which is fine. That's her gig, you know, she's making that money. But she gave me those business cards, and I loved it when she was like, for your friends, and she gave me a big stack.
Thank you, Angeline. We love you.
Bless her heart.
Yes. I do have to say the rear bumper of the car was a little smashed.
I think that she's since got it fixed.
or a whole another one.
Yeah, or she just got a whole nother
give
one.
her, like, she just
Yeah.
trades them in all the time.
But just Angeline, one of those very specific Los Angeles celebrities that she was just sort of the pre-Kim K of her day in the 80s, that she just
she
made
was
this
like-
brand, and her brand was herself. She wasn't an actress. She wasn't like...
She didn't even also like, she didn't have to take her clothes off.
Yeah.
She didn't have to like do anything. Like, she just, she played the gimmick. And
She
like,
invested in that Hollywood billboard.
Yeah.
And she's an icon.
that voice in this movie where she's just like, unleaded.
Yeah.
I think that's one of them.
Could you back up?
We love that shot
I
of
did
her.
see that, like, there was an awards section, like, for the movie, and I was like, oh, let's see what this movie got. And she got nominated for a Golden Raspberry.
No.
Well, I have a lot to say about the
screw them.
Razzies, because they're a little misogynist.
Yeah, F the Razzies.
Yeah.
They just like to dump on famous women like Angeline.
Yeah. It's like, okay, so she's not an actress.
It's
by
like, Razzies,
Yeah,
go
exactly.
Razzies, go fuck yourself.
Also, I think the people that run that organization are a bunch of, like, insufferable nerds.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're like those kind of people that, like, they know how funny it is because a movie's bad, and they're going to tell you, and they're going to make sure you know that how in on the joke they are.
It's
you know?
like-
And it's like, calm down.
It's like the first time that you see Tyler Perry show up in Worst Actress for a Medea movie, and then you see it 4 years in a row.
Every time, yeah. Yeah. All I'm saying, there's a lot of like dolphin caps, like Kangol hats, and like worn forward, and just nerdiness.
I love that cutaway of Angeline in the background, and she's talking to the cops.
Yes.
Yeah.
When she says she thinks, I think that's one of them. They steal Woody's. They steal the Woody. They steal Woody's car.
Oh, they kind of trash Woody's car. All of his pool
The beautiful
stuff
car.
is in this car.
It is a beautiful car, and yeah, all of it. This is his job. He's a pool man. All his crap is
he's
just.
also very gracious when he calls Gina Davis. He's like, "Hey, man, your friends stole my car."
They just held up a liquor store.
Those scenes of Jim and Damon hanging out of that car on the 405 freeway look
I
so
know.
dangerous.
And like when the car passes him and he back, that's actually some serious stunt work.
You see
Yeah.
Jim like hanging out of this car.
Driving with his feet.
Although in the scene where he first sees those Valley girls that he thinks are Finland babes, and he steps out,
Yeah, that's
that
not
is
him.
clearly not him. That is some Spaceballs level stunt work. But in this scene where they're driving the Woody backwards on the freeway, it looks frightening, and it eventually ends up in the iconic Randy's Donuts giant donut.
I've never been to
Icon.
Randy's Donuts.
There's two, aren't there two Randy's? I feel like there's two. There's the one in Inglewood, and then I think there's a second one.
I went there when the spaceship was being carted through
sure.
Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Like I got that picture or whatever, but I've never been there and gotten a
have a
donut.
donut.
But Jennifer Moranne, friend of the pod,
Yes.
she went during the Rams Super Bowl,
Sure.
and she brought the Rams donuts to my house, and I had one, and they were really, really good.
Wow.
We need to get Jennifer on the pod soon.
Yes, indeed. She's lots of fun. That's really cool.
You should do it if you haven't done Titanic yet back then.
Oh, that's a good idea. I have been planning a Titanic episode, and she is an excellent person to have on for it.
She and I went, when they did the re-release, we saw it in LA Live.
Oh, wow.
And sang the song. There were like 3 people there.
We saw it in like some random theater in Whittier, the re-release.
With my mom.
And
it was La Habra.
The Titanic showing at the Vista was one of the last movies that we saw in the theater in 2020. We saw a showing, a Valentine's Day showing at the Vista in February.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I forgot about that. Wow, we love Titanic.
We'll get to it eventually, and we'll have Jen on.
When I sometimes think of how many hours I've spent in the theater seeing Titanic.
Yeah, I mean, didn't I say that I think I saw it 4 times in the theater. 2 in the original run, once with my mom and Scott in the re-release, and then once at the Valentine's Day.
I only saw it once when it initially came out, and I was so disappointed I didn't make it to
again.
Yeah. So I feel like I've had to make up. I've had to make it up these past few years.
I saw it twice in the theaters when it first came out.
Yeah,
but that's like 6 hours.
Yeah, just right there. Yeah.
And then and I know I watched it again in the theater, and I hope that's it. But then
more Titanic. So I feel like the last portion of this movie, the whole weird chase in the hospital, and everybody gets arrested after the car theft and the liquor store robbery and all of that. But we end up...
They take them to the hospital for whatever reason. Right.
Right. They end up at Dr. Love's hospital. I forget why the cops are taking them there. But there's a moment where Mac uses his love touch on the cops.
The love touch. I always forget about the love touch. That's one of his alien superpowers.
Yeah.
Yeah, we first see him use it on the cat.
He use it on Valerie, right?
He doesn't have
just
to.
Regular touch. Yeah. I just remember that with the cat. I always liked the color version of the cat. Twirling. She looks so pretty.
Yes, probably on a lot of cat.
He uses it on the officers to make them fall in love.
The scene might be a little questionable in 2020 standards, but hey, I think it works. I think it's funny.
Yeah.
When he says the one cop says to the other one that his eyes are just a shade off of
Liz Taylor vibe. And then they're by the time they're home, Gina Davis is driving and they're in the back seat and planning their home purchase or something.
Yeah, I think it's funny.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, there's a kind of it's not drawn out, but I feel like this little chase situation at the hospital is what's going on here? Oh well.
Yeah, and then we terrorize Vicky the nurse.
Yes, again.
Poor Vicky.
This thing that you always see in sitcoms of if you're in a hospital room, someone is in a complete full body cast like a mummy, and they can't even move. Hit the call button. No way. I'm going to see those nurse cha-chas.
Yeah. And of course, Dr. Love is attracted to Gina Davis when he doesn't know it's Gina Davis.
Yes.
Excited about checking her heartbeat.
And he can never tell his own fiance. First in the blonde wig, who's your friend?
Yeah.
And then here he's always just thrown, who's this, this mystery woman?
Yeah.
The whole heartbeat thing, because the aliens have 2 hearts.
Yeah.
So we're intentionally trying to drive him crazy.
He's getting all excited about some medical breakthrough that he's going to be on the discovering end of.
And he does recognize them from the house, right?
He does recognize them when they come in. He's like, "Oh, you two again."
Yeah,
this will be fun. He presses Jim Carrey's bruise.
The MTV scum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, eventually, how do they make it out of the hospital?
they convince him that he's hearing things and he
Right.
goes a little crazy. And then
Yeah.
but he still follows them out to the car and he rides home with her.
Yeah.
And is he supposed to not know that they're in the back seat?
That's why I feel like this whole last portion, it's like, we just got to get him back to the house.
It's kind of thrown together.
We just
Yeah,
gotta
it's
get
like
back
they
home.
start playing the
We
rap
just have to
game.
get him back
Yeah.
to the spaceship.
Yeah.
Which I have to say, like, these days, when, like, I just have less time to watch movies, like, when this movie is, like, I think it was, like, what, an hour and 27 minutes or something?
Yeah.
That's a great little ditty. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I love it when you can cram a story into 1 hour and 27 minutes.
Oh, for sure.
Thank you.
Give me like a brisk 90-minute runtime, like
Yeah.
Bill and Ted
Yeah.
Face the Music,
Yeah.
and I'm in.
Yeah, we watched it like right after we had a little dinner, put the movie on, and was just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, this is a respectable time. Like, I have the energy for that. Like, at the end of the day, like, and also it's like lots of times you just don't need it. Like when it's some fluff movie and it's like 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, why?
Yeah.
Do we need this?
That weird, like, Judd Apatow comedy length over 2 hours for
Yeah.
a movie like that doesn't need to happen.
Especially comedies.
Yeah,
I feel like comedies keep them snappy.
Like there's a solid, there's a dramedy, that you can do that, and you can get a real like Oscar worthy comedy out of it and stuff. But if you just want to make me laugh, like 145.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But yeah, we eventually, they get back to the house, they get back to the spaceship. Each time I watch it, I'm just like, should she go with him? Should Max stay on Earth?
It definitely seems like a rash decision because they're like taking off, and she's like, "Wait, no, no, I'm not into this." And she's got her house, she's got things going. I like it when she's quizzing Jeff Goldblum about like his life on his other planet. She's like, "So is spaceship driver? Is that like a good job?"
Yeah.
And like, do you own?
Do you own or rent?
Like sizing up like her prospect.
So do you think that she's going to bring nail art to his home planet? Do you think that's her like lot in life? What she's going to do?
As long as they don't, do what we would do to a foreign alien.
Right.
Sure.
And she, she's going to be like this bald woman, on this planet.
Bald thing. I think I love you.
I love when she says that people are going to think you're a Wookiee or a werewolf.
Yeah.
But I like to think that he does bring her back to Earth to go visit Julie Brown.
Yeah, they could have a very
Go up for margaritas. I mean,
it's
space travel. Anything's possible.
Yes.
Yeah, if she can pay her mortgage and,
That was my thing, too. I'm like, you're kicking out your doctor fiance and you're a nail tech. Is this house paid for? Because...
Yeah.
I don't know.
Was this your grandma's house?
Yeah.
Because, that's fine.
Mm-hmm. That was my concern now in 2020. I never thought about that as a kid. I'm just, that's her house. But now I'm just like, oh.
Yeah, you don't want to leave that.
Yeah, no.
You hold on to California real estate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In that neighborhood, in this economy.
I'm looking over my notes of anything that we didn't discuss already. Oh, I love the Julie Brown's workstation. She has a little beefcake calendar. I love that.
Yes, I saw that.
I'm a sucker for a beefcake calendar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of oiled up guys in Speedos. I love it. The Julio Iglesias album that he tries to turn her on with.
Yeah, he puts his... Oh, wait. Okay, Scott, I wanted to talk to you about this. When he's doing her song, she's throwing some vinyl in the fire.
Yes.
And she throws the soundtrack to Who's That
Who's
Girl?
that girl?
Now,
Does
how
she?
did you feel?
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, she does. She
Shocking.
pulls it out. We actually... My sister had that record.
No.
Causing the Commotion. Great song.
Yeah, that was a questionable move. As she's destroying the house,
Is she killing those fish when she
she's putting champagne into the
puts
fish
champagne into the fish tank?
Well, they seem fine until they get eaten.
Yeah, true.
Which that looks like I always hear about like people just actually eating fish for these roles. Like, why is that necessary? But hopefully they didn't do that.
No,
I'm sure there was a fish wrangler on set.
Yeah.
Those fish skeletons that they pulled out of their mouths.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do I have any other final? Was there anything else you wanted to bring up about this movie before we wrap it up, Moranne? Because this movie is so much fun.
I don't know. You know, it is. It's so colorful and campy and like pretty. And yeah, I do just love seeing Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Like vintage Los Angeles looks so good, and it's so much fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Two makeover scenes.
Oh, love it.
Indeed. I feel like for me it was, it's the songs, it's the because they were campy songs. They were funny songs.
YouTube Julie Brown song, 'Cause I'm a Blonde, and it is songwriting brilliance.
Yes.
Of when you listen to all of those lyrics, just how just doing a dumb blonde song, and it's so smart. Like all of these lines are just so fucking witty.
Yeah,
The brilliance of Julie Brown.
There's like, and I don't. Yeah, it is just so smart, and it made me think of one person in particular, but I shouldn't talk about that.
Okay. We got a
former coworker.
Oh, sure.
I just have this one philosophy. So what?
So what?
Yeah, so what?
And it's just I think that if you watch RuPaul's Drag Race and you're familiar with Trixie Mattel, that's totally her aesthetic that she got from this movie, this character, and she brought it to drag. Yeah. So brilliant. Love it.
For sure. Look it up.
In fact,
people.
I remember on Trixie's Meet the Queens on her season, and they asked her, what's like your ideal lip sync for your life song? And she said, 'Cause I'm a Blonde by Julie Brown.
Well, there you go. There you go. We'll tag her in our Instagram post then. We'll definitely be tagging Julie Brown in our Instagram because she commented on our Clueless episode. So how about that?
She commented about the dialogue, the Valley Girl dialogue in Clueless, of how some of it was prior existing and then they just made some of it up.
And the costumes.
Yep.
So hopefully, Julie, maybe you'll listen to this episode.
Julie, I hope you're listening. We love you. Come on the show.
Yes, indeed. Well, I think we made it to the end.
We did.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being a guest on our show.
It would have been fun to do it with you in person.
Yeah.
Before this all started, Moranne and I had one last hurrah at Disneyland the week that all this shit went down.
Man,
we went to Disneyland.
Those babes in the woods.
Yeah.
We went to Disneyland on Monday and all hell broke loose on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember us talking about like, this is going to be fine.
It's going to blow over. I'm not worried about it. Are you worried about it?
I just was telling somebody like how many times I've regretted, you know how you got the Star Wars.
Oh,
yeah, you didn't get on Rise of Resistance.
Yeah, he gave me the opportunity. I could have walked right over there and done it. But I was like, I'm going to be back here. I'm
going to be back in like a month.
For Isaac's birthday. Like, I'm good. I'll do it then.
And probably the last time that I sat down in a restaurant, we were at the North Woods Inn off of the freeway.
That was the first time for everybody, and it was very beautiful.
Clearman's. Love Northwoods Inn. It's got that snowy roof.
Yes.
365.
I wanted to go there my entire life. Finally, I was in charge with like nobody else on a timeline in my car.
Love it. Wow. That's fun. Well, I didn't go. I think I worked that day, but it was another thing that I was like, well, I got to pass. You guys just go. I'm going to go to work.
We'll do it again soon.
Yeah.
We'll catch you next time.
Yeah. Oh, well. One day we'll be back. But yeah, thanks again for coming on the show.
Thank you so much.
So much fun.
Thank you. Love you guys.
Yes, indeed. Hopefully we'll see you again soon, but it's time to say goodnight.
Good night.
Bye. Thanks for staying on
See you
so
later,
long.
Moranne. Bye.
Bye.
Good night. Okay. I'm going to hit ground you walk on while we're
Good idea.
saying our extra. So we got to keep it under 2 minutes because it just ends. I don't want it to just be like...
Yeah, I think we can.
Okay. And thank you so much for listening, everybody. That was a fun episode. Did you have some fun, Scott?
I had so much fun. I love this movie.
Me too. Well, everybody out there listening, we would love it if you would rate and review our show.
Give us 5 stars.
Give us 5 stars.
We haven't had a review in a while. I'd like to read one on the air.
I know. We haven't had a review in a while, people. Head over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a good review if you love our show. We'd also love it if you would follow us on Patreon, www.patreon.com.
We just sent out our newsletter, and if you join Patreon, we will send you some of the old newsletters too.
Yes, indeed. We will definitely do that for you. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Movies That Made Us Gay, and you can follow us on Twitter at
MTMUGPod.
Exactly. I am on Twitter at Peter Lasagna.
I am Scott Youngbauer, and I'm also on Letterboxd at just Scott Youngbauer.
Yes,
if you want to look me
indeed.
up on Letterboxd and see what I'm watching.
Yes, indeed. I'm not on Letterboxd yet, but I'm that handle for me is Twitter and Instagram, actually. But yeah, definitely look us up. Thanks for listening. Thanks for following. We'll see you next week with a
Next
fresh
week
episode.
for our Thanksgiving episode. We got a really good movie for Thanksgiving. I'm excited about it.
Awesome. That's fun.
Our guest is going to be really funny.
Well, until then, you guys will find out soon what it is. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy listening.
Gina will play you out.
Yes, indeed. Good night, everybody. Bye.
Bye.